Unfortunate.
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 Roof as this unfortunate, as it's fallen, and in your precious, in your delicate condition.
As for my unfortunate monocle, I'd rather you not use it.
That's unfortunate. 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 This is Gilbourne.
Gives up. Well, I have faith. You're an unfortunate man.
Tommy Cole's boy?
Yes, sir.
Well, that is unfortunate.
Seems to me it's just an unfortunate situation. Or not so unfortunate.
Hurry. It's an unfortunate way to meet the woman who means so much to my son.
Like Ted, he's always been a team player. It's unfortunate he has this secret.
It was a mistake, one he's always regretted.
I know you didn't mean it, Claire. It's just unfortunate how things are playing out.
I'm doctor. I have an unfortunate excess of.
Fund.
Fund.
Fund. Fund.
Fund.
I'm glad you're both here. I'm starting my own hedge fund, and I'm looking for investors.
My fund runs a diversified energy portfolio with an emphasis on Gulf producers.
And it's only for the weekends and after school after you're done with your homework, and all the money goes into your college fund. College fund. College fund. Okay, does that sound good?
All right, Ms. Lockhart, I am holding you in contempt. You owe the Legal Defense Fund $80,000 to be paid no later than Friday of next week.
And you withdrew a fair amount of money from the family trust to fund this fruit stand, didn't you?
Yeah. So we throw some in a college fund, but the rest is fair game, right?
This check is for significantly more than what I told you it would take to fund the department.
I know.
It's Valentine's Day. Don't you and Mr. Hedge Fund have plans? I know Carlos and I do.
So that's what this is about, your trust fund.
How are you?
Good. Marie and I finally got married. I started my own investment fund. How about yourself?
My trust fund is your trust fund.
No.
I doubt your trust fund is that large, and no angel investor will go near the company that built the machine that destroyed half the city.
Says here Dr. McGee has secured $500 million in private funding to develop.
Latitude.
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 25.
The astronaut. The numbers indicate latitude and longitude. Latitude and longitude. Latitude and longitude.
Yeah, about that. Few ground rules. I know you guys are used to having some latitude, but on this, you go where I go and that's it. Got it?
121915. Not latitude or longitude. Latitude or longitude. Latitude or longitude. Doesn't work as a phone number. Too short for a social security number.
Coordinates. Yes, sir. Landmark 2113, latitude 46 degrees north, longitude 118 west.
Does it matter what Farage thinks about Heathrow? How much latitude does he get to pick targets?
I think he'll give up the salaries, but Heathrow's going to be tough.
Go to that landless latitude. And good luck.
So, what are we gonna do?
We're gonna kick this case upstairs to someone with the latitude to clean up this mess without breaking into a sweat. We're gonna bring this to Thompson.
It's a big world. We've pulled anything arid and everything above and below 60 degrees latitude, but they're estimating it could take 32 hours.
His location. What are the coordinates?
Tori plotted the longitude and latitude of the geotech, and we got an address in downtown Manhattan.
And what's there?
Mention anything to me, though I suppose that wasn't unusual. I gave him a lot of latitude. Paul was my top investigator.
The Greek symbol phi.
Phi.
Which?
Phi, which is sometimes used to denote latitude.
Bingo.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll grant the team a modicum of latitude, Louis.
Coordinates. Longitude and latitude. Crew.
Crew.
Crew. Crew.
That's different. He runs a crew. Preys on local shop owners and...
Was this it?
That's all we found.
The rest must be with the woman that ran the crew.
I don't think so, man.
Melinda and I worked together out in Portland 20 years back. Always had a good crew.
We have to send a message. I take out a mark and Dante set it up with his crew.
I can find it. Yeah, look, Alphonse's there with Long Gordon. I'm gonna call the rest of the crew and get them down there, right?
No. And what about others? Cleaning crew, volunteers, garbage man?
Miss Norris, when you worked on this film, were there rules for the crew as to how to handle potential jumpers?
He solves import and export problems for the Medicis. It's his business to know every boat that comes in and out of Pisa. He could find you a ship and a crew.
Welcome, Sky Crew.
Join us.
Why you here, Indra?
Because you are also tree crew.
And how could Bobby's crew know? How did anyone know where you would be?
All right, then. We got a crew. We'll hit the place tomorrow. Standard smash and grab. You know the drill.
My favorite subject. My favorite subject. My favorite subject.
Since we're on the subject of provocations, I believe it's time I stated the purpose of my visit.
Futures markets. Fortunately for you, I have already written the definitive guide on that very complicated subject.
It seemed unfair to subject anyone to the miserable experience that I had.
Baby, wanna wait some more?
Don't change the subject.
Now in effect, any unauthorized personnel will be subject to arrest. This is for your protection. A yellow-coded curtain is now in effect. Any unauthorized personnel will be subject to arrest. This is for your protection.
Together. Subject 89P13 calls itself Rocket.
What's going on with Castle's case?
Don't try to change the subject.
I'm not talking about this anymore, bro.
What are you not talking about?
This night busted it up before the Dodger could get himself paid.
Don't change the subject.
New entry. It has now been 311 days since lightning struck. Subject has begun relying on his speed in everyday life, using his extraordinary powers.
These are just a few of the random thoughts I've had on the subject.
A few.
Just come to the club, even once,
Why would I subject myself to that?
for our marriage.
That is a great subject for discussion when we get home.
Elaborate.
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 When you offered to share your thoughts on my campaign, I wasn't expecting anything quite so elaborate.
Do you want to elaborate? To elaborate?
No, I think I said what I needed to say.
So no elaborate escape from division plan this time.
How about you elaborate on that?
How about you stop with all the questions?
It is a bit over-elaborate.
I don't feel like creating some elaborate library.
Thank you. No, nothing elaborate, just a simple roast and something appropriate to go with it.
What have I told you? The plane was a fake. An elaborate, expensive fake.
What is she talking about?
Oh, it's a My Sweet Companion doll. They all have these elaborate backstories.
Care to elaborate? You're too close to this. This guy's like a daughter to you.
Oh my God.
Wow, these strippers really have elaborate backstories.
Oh, wow, really?
That we know of, the connections could all just be in his or her mind. Serial killers often develop elaborate rationalizations to justify their actions.
Particularly.
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 Particularly. Particularly.
No, but the guy they arrested has initials that are particularly interesting. Particularly interesting. Particularly interesting.
I want a list of everyone who knew about this. Backgrounds, affiliations, particularly any connections with Frost.
R-U-F-U-S. And were you fond of this dog, Mr. Dancourt? Well, not particularly. Well, not particularly. Well, not particularly. Does that mean you dislike dogs, Mr. Dancourt?
My point, you two don't strike me as a particularly serious duo.
Oh, we're serious, bro.
Did you pluck your eyebrows before you came here so they'd be perfect just like that? Because signs of lying become particularly visible in the brows when they've been thinned. You know, you don't seem particularly upset about these bombings. No, quite the opposite, in fact.
I've had a particularly challenging last 24 hours.
Did you use metaphors for your old team, or do you just think I'm particularly stupid?
And this one I ran out and got the day I found out Carl was doing it with his secretary. I think you'll find this particularly helpful. It's got a chapter called Revenge, You're Only Hurting Yourself.
Well, I think it's irregular. California kings are much longer. Is your wife particularly tall?
Not particularly.
What about the 3 guards you murdered while escaping from prison? You want to tell us about them?
You don't sound particularly sad to see me go.
Oh, but I am.
Profitable.
Profitable.
Profitable. Profitable.
Profitable.
A proposition, the best kind. A profitable one. Profitable one. Profitable one. Give me that.
Between our needs and your skill set, this could be a very profitable arrangement. Profitable arrangement. Profitable arrangement.
H1 trials. Typically, an experimental drug becomes hugely profitable, once it gets to stage 2.
Lack in such areas.
So, I'm not alone?
Alone? No. I'm in a very profitable business because of guys like you.
High yield. I'm not talking about 6 or 7%. I'm talking about 20%. Would that be profitable enough for you?
I made it clear. If you want the company to remain profitable... Whose idea was this?
Mark status removed. This would free them up to redevelop the site for more modern and presumably more profitable purposes.
Just here to insult us.
It's not an insult, it's a fact. You command the 2 least profitable ships on the island as a function of basic arithmetic.
With the potential for future trouble over the certainty of actual trouble she was causing. To a profitable venture.
To see. The idea that this place can be transformed, made profitable, redeemed from within and on its own terms.
Think of my set last night. Because fangirls on Vine called it epically epic.
More like epically profitable.
It's kind of hot when you talk business and numbers.
Hate me. But as long as Clayton West remains profitable, my stockholders won't care.
Suppress.
Suppress. Suppress.
Suppress.
Suppress.
You want to suppress knowledge.
No, I want to administer it.
Well, you're a scientist. You know how difficult it would be to suppress your own findings. Suppress your own findings. Suppress your own findings.
Memory? Suppressed? Suppressed? Suppressed?
Avoid them.
No. Suppress your fear. Face the threat.
Where we seek to disseminate and preserve knowledge, they seek to alter and suppress it.
Decided to do everything he could to suppress his urges.
Ingesting massive amounts of synthesized progesterone will generate...
Won't stop it.
If he can produce phosphorus from his skin, you'll have to suppress it topically.
Well, then what's the point of this?
Because there is a way to suppress the Hexen Beast in her.
But she'll still be one, so what good does suppressing it do?
I almost suppressed evidence. That and suppressed memories often resurface in dreams.
When it comes to rage, that is not a good thing. The longer you suppress your emotions.
The bigger the explosion.
Well, that doesn't mean he doesn't care. Some people work hard at suppressing their emotions.
So many of us spend so much of our life suppressing the wolf.
Whereas.
Whereas. Whereas.
Whereas.
Whereas.
She gets half of everything I own. Whereas if I get killed, my kids inherit the whole shebang.
It goes on, whereas you...
Whereas I what?
Wait.
All the kids are gonna meet today. They come from their mom's tummies. Whereas you come from... The garden. Yes.
Hardens and settles like silt. It makes your aorta stiffer than a hockey stick. Whereas olive oil caresses your insides, leaving nothing behind.
This does make you look very dignified, whereas the blue one brings out your dashing side.
Equally important.
Light has produced a magnetic North Pole.
Like a compass?
Exactly so. Whereas, Mr. Turner, had I done the same experiment using the red end of the spectrum, this needle would not have been magnetised.
Where's I already have
uniform. Whereas you just dabble in crazy.
Use your help.
Whereas I don't need yours.
Really?
The experience of working here, whereas your brilliance, your heart, your warmth, your humor, it just adds to it.
Patient. 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 Patient.
It's impossible to say. Each patient is very different.
But we'll need to be smart, and we'll need to be patient. And we'll hit them on our terms.
It's 3-0 now. Robinson's patient, waiting for something he can swing on.
Give me something.
When he dropped a patient in an airtight room surrounded by Secret Service agents.
He says he's sure he can get you off on self-defense. So if you're just patient.
Oh, this is so exciting. What happens next?
Well, you gotta be patient. These things don't just happen right away.
Come on, the Medicis are none of them patient men.
Counselor Abigail Griffin, you're under arrest for exceeding the maximum medical supplies allowed per patient.
Yo.
How's the patient?
Gone. Never had a chance.
NYPD. I'm checking in on a patient that came in from a bank robbery. His name is Sal Martino.
Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud.
Host.
Host. Host. Host. Host.
The dangers not only to the host, but to you are indescribable.
Well, Adam, I am the host. I am the host. I am the host. And I do pick the book. And this is my favorite book.
For your information, I'll be playing host to Dr. Elizabeth Plimpton.
Hey, sis. Just checking in to make sure you're still up for tomorrow. We'd be willing to host.
We have a special treat coming up for you at the end of the hour. A local radio host claims to have evidence of the supernatural.
If it's all right with my host, Dr. Wexler?
Well, I should think that all but the most joyless wonks, and yes, I do refer to you, Cyril Bibby.
I don't have much of a choice here. I mean, the host made it part of the show to bring it here.
I had a hard time getting him to leave.
So the larva forms a tumor in the subcutaneous zone of the host using my flesh to convert itself into a buffalo.
Here comes our host now.
Tom, this is Mr. Park.
Hello, old friend. Captain, please see our host to a seat.
Inevitable.
Inevitable. Inevitable. Inevitable.
Inevitable.
But endings are inevitable. Inevitable. Inevitable.
Past surgery.
Okay. I had just about enough of this.
Whoa! It was inevitable. It was inevitable. It was inevitable. Samantha would develop complications.
You know, you're only prolonging the inevitable. The inevitable. The inevitable.
As an attorney, were insufficient to clear Iris's good name, or was their appearance as inevitable as your yen for the spotlight is pathetic?
No matter what happens in that ring, the results of any fight is inevitable. What Zeus sees, he kills.
Do you remember when Miles said that it's inevitable that this will fall apart, that it's destined to implode?
You should be training for the inevitable fight that's looming.
All your threats of war, they merely delay the inevitable, causing you to forfeit the opportunity you have.
You won a war. War was inevitable. I struck first so we would have the advantage.
He did leave quickly, didn't he?
You only delayed the inevitable, Gabriel.
Women must get the vote, mustn't they, Branson? Why does the Prime Minister resist the inevitable?
Politicians can't often recognize the changes that are inevitable.
Times people question me about my father.
So what? It doesn't make it right.
No, but it makes it inevitable.
Right, let's mount up.
That is none of your concern. But disrupting our operations and continuing to obstruct the inevitable can only result in more pain and suffering.
You elected me to represent you, but I couldn't forestall the inevitable. The shipyard was closing.
Robot.
Robot. Robot.
Robot.
Robot.
Options, really. Either she's an evil, emotionless, miserable human being, or she's a robot. She's a robot. She's a robot. Small wonder, you know, Vicky.
As a human caretaker, it's just...
Hunter, I don't care.
All right, well, she said that you said you were saying that the robot
The robot's fine. The robot's fine. The robot's fine. Just go do something nice with your kids.
What about your mother? She's not going to want a robot getting in her way.
Mom's got her own robot. Things I want. Robot dog, night vision goggles, bug vacuum, GPS watch, speakers that look like rocks. That's why Are you crying? What are you, a robot? It's a deeply emotional movie. Classic.
Oh, yeah. It's a robot.
Oh, yeah, sure is.
Isn't he here?
He's not human. He's a robot.
Objection.
Dante Pryor is a social bot.
Actually, no. You seem like a robot, incapable of emotion, and if you don't let it out, you're gonna explode.
That's before you grew a gut, turned into a robot, and bought this ridiculous house.
Oh, damn your pretty robot eyes.
It's a robot.
No way. Scanned, and otherwise, General Eiling is perfectly healthy.
So why is he just standing there like a robot?
Pose. 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 Pause.
Extinction. Our orders are to defeat them before they pose an irreversible threat. Pose an irreversible threat. Pose an irreversible threat.
Their very existence is a threat.
Sure. We just need to get you in the same pose in the photo, and then I do the rest.
For their mothers, that's what guides you between our fights.
I pay you to pose. I pay you to pose. I pay you to pose.
Vanessa, not to plumb the innermost depths of my character.
Arab troop movements may be unanimously agreed they didn't pose a threat.
The early age of 4.
Quite so.
Mr. Ruskin, can I pose you a somewhat conundrous question?
It's bad form this week with Perf.
I will try not to put you in that position, but if I pose as a dealer, can you set me up a meet?
Ah.
Surveil the homes of some of his closest friends. Any luck, we'll be able to pose those questions to the man himself. What a copy might be worth.
Oh, so you're writing a fake 95 thesis and then what?
I'm going to propose as someone who has recently inherited it and has no idea of what it's worth. Perhaps you can give us the name of the person who asked you to sign the NDA and we can pose our questions to them.
Only warning, and it would be effective were you to pose a threat to me.
Two options aren't possible, then I'll take them out.
Even if the gifted doesn't pose a threat.
No, I wanted you dead. You pose a legitimate threat to everything that I've built.
Obtain.
Obtain. Obtain.
Obtain.
Obtain.
That knowledge, that's all kept in Captain Dragonetti's office.
Then obtain it for me. Then obtain it for me. Then obtain it for me.
You need to obtain her from Captain Vane. To obtain her from Captain Vane. To obtain her from Captain Vane. Alive and unharmed.
Those co-ventures. There's less a need for them if the Chinese can obtain new technology from corporate espionage.
Frank, what do you think?
Cooperating, so we were going to have a search warrant executed in order to obtain those blood samples.
I hope to obtain pardon for my sins.
The first thing I'll do with my newfound fortune is obtain lodging close to the drinking establishments.
Buy more magnesium, obtain obscure alcoholic beverages from the East, acquire 3 horses.
Wine from one of their friends, obtain the occasional work visa.
And the requests got bigger, did they?
Visible ink, and shortly after his death, someone broke into the morgue, dismembered him in order to obtain those secrets.
Be of interest to the police.
It must be frustrating when politicians pander to their base by making it difficult to obtain suitable cells. Enough to purchase excess embryos from Abbey. I have papers to grade. It is, of course, illegal to obtain embryos without the consent of the potential parent that provided that genetic material.
Davenport. That will make it easy to obtain a sample of his DNA.
No! You'll contaminate the reaction system. I've been trying to attain this combustion efficiency for over a month.
What the hell kind of contraption is that?
Despise. Despise. Despise.
Despise.
Despise.
We'll be blamed for it. If you pass the bailout...
The Republicans will despise me for supporting the bailout. That's it.
Not the point.
Oh, it's exactly the point, Nick. I won't give myself up to a system I despise. I despise.
Terrible danger.
How could you know? You never loved anyone. You despise mortals. You despise mortals. You despise mortals. You never even had a friend, even in our world. How could you know?
Beneath their bed, and well, I'm sure I could go in there and crack the combo. It just so happens that Myrna Mountweasel's in there, and that goddamn dog despises me.
She despises me, Aria. But she's barely met him.
All the good in you burns brighter when you see something you despise, and that rage drives you to act.
I despise you, Oscar. I always have. You were never more than a sickening means to a sickening end.
Tank. I despise you and people of your ilk on both sides of the aisle.
Well, I'd say this visit is unexpected, but I despise understatement.
I'm dropping out of the race.
Face. You all despise me. Kingslayer. Oathbreaker.
We're away. I've had to meet with our broker, my trainer, your lawyer, that caterer we both adore, and that personal shopper we both despise.
All that, and you still had time to blackmail the neighbors.
Yeah. I've been thinking. I hate being a maid. And to risk a friendship over a job I despise, that's dumb.
He's been asking for pizza. Martin despises pizza.
Is that the delivery man? Oh, Mr. Allen.
Luxury.
Luxury. Luxury. Luxury.
Luxury.
At best, it's a luxury. The luxury.
These fish are a luxury resource. Luxury resource. Luxury resource. A top-quality tuna can weigh 300 kilos.
How's business?
It's not good. Nobody wants curtains. They think of it like a luxury. A luxury. It's not a luxury.
When the war is over, we can have the luxury of debating the morality of what we do.
I am losing this case, so faith is a luxury I don't have any time for right now.
I am nothing if not world-class at showing my gratitude. So, we have checked you into one of our company's executive luxury penthouse suites.
So as owner and CEO of Hollywood Luxury Bubbles, I wanted to offer you an exclusive
team in the business, the San Francisco Giants, from the best damn luxury suite money can buy.
I'm not. Friendship is a luxury we can't afford. And if I have to take us down to a cosmic Adam and Eve. What's a cordwainer again?
A luxury shoemaker, don't interrupt.
You'll throw off the magic.
Game changers. If it's any consolation to you, she's not living in luxury.
No, we are parents. We can't afford the luxury of obsession.
Revision. Revision.
Revision. Revision.
Revision.
There has been a slight rule change. The previous revision, allowing for 2 victors from the same district, has been revoked.
So you were revising to improve?
I was revising because my life is a revision, is a revision.
This is your draft of the bill?
Subject to revision, certainly. Subject to revision, certainly. Subject to revision, certainly.
Well, anyway, my writing's going extremely well, by the by. I'm already almost done with my revisions to chapter 37.
Hello out there, everybody! Hey, remember that earlier bromance revision I was telling you guys about?
Mr. Gardner is working with old information, in our opinion. I would submit this revision of the evidence room stamp.
Objection.
I'll accept. Continue, Rivers.
Thank you.
I didn't say that.
But you said you couldn't impact the results.
Yes, but the algorithm needs almost daily attention and revision.
Soon.
Really? You sound like you know what you're talking about.
Wall sent over his revisions for me to check out. Not that he changed much.
Wow.
So believe me when I tell you, Vasquez, that file you read is in desperate need of a revision.
Can you make it to round on Alyssa Kramer? The club fee girl? She's back? Yeah, scar revision. Oh.
No revisions to the agreement. None. Everything is as spelled out in the proposal.
Sequence.
Sequence.
Sequence. Sequence. Sequence.
When we analyzed the text using a frequency count, certain words kept appearing in a sequence.
Not quite. I still need Niels' stability sequence.
1 mile per bow.
1 mile per bow.
Engage landing sequence. Engage landing sequence. Engage landing sequence. Switch the manual.
Come in.
Go. Initiate sequence.
No, that's more than just odd. This is the same sequence of events that preceded Jackson Clare's murder. We need to take another look at the sequence of events, piece together the witness statements.
Anything on the number sequence?
We're running it through every database, but nothing so far.
I need to complete the sequence analysis of the 3 known virus strains. Primordial Egyptian.
It's been edited, sir. You can see the cut right here. They've reversed the sequence of events to make it look like we fired first.
And then the flotilla explodes.
There it is. We got it. I'll give you 3 to 1. The cover's in that sequence. The Q in the first sequence is actually the Greek symbol phi.
Pedestrian.
Pedestrian. Pedestrian.
Pedestrian.
Pedestrian.
What's he looking at?
Car, pedestrian, car, pedestrian, car, pedestrian.
No. His eye line is too high, right?
Some of us get killed out here. Pedestrians are a menace. Pedestrians are a menace. Pedestrians are a menace. Cabs are killers.
Perform their tricks. They have no respect for drivers, pedestrians, or clearly the law.
She was driving on the sidewalk for 3 blocks and didn't even realize it, and then hit 2 pedestrians.
There are so many options. Maybe a busy pedestrian and traffic intersection in a city.
Fat kid does karate,
Homeless man drop kicks pedestrian. Have you seen this one?
Thank you for asking.
Bert, should we call an ambulance?
Hi. There was a pedestrian child in the street, and in order to avoid killing it, I had to swerve and maneuver onto your sidewalk.
How's that pedestrian doing? You guys ran to Chicago, man.
She coded twice along the way. It's doubtful she'll survive the night.
Reservoir.
Reservoir. Reservoir. Reservoir.
Reservoir.
Cups are huge. They're like reservoirs. Reservoirs. Reservoirs.
It's always bigger than my face.
Once again, stormwaters have just reached the dam at Black Beacon Reservoir. Black Beacon Reservoir. Black Beacon Reservoir. A flash flood alert is in effect. Take immediate precautions.
The aesthetic
Walk me through
is...
you walking, because I like,
Reservoir Dogs, Reservoir Dogs, Reservoir Dogs meets Casablanca. How many times do I have to tell you that?
Could climb up into Brigade of Guards.
The plans of Vitruvius show where the drains lead. Yes? Once I reach the reservoir, I just drill up into the Vascan Flooring.
Reservoir Dogs, dude. Cut the ear.
Yeah, how far upstream?
The boat launch is 6 or 7 clicks from the reservoir. Put the boat down.
Hydroelectric power from Philpott Dam. Fresh water from our own underground reservoir.
Transit hubs.
The bad news is the toxin's versatile. It can be deployed through the ventilation system, it can contaminate a reservoir, it can be detonated with a bomb. And
Water from all the other ones. There also used to be a small reservoir in town before the tower was built, but Ollie's well sapped that too.
Okay, so say we destroy Ollie's well.
And divert the water back to the dry ones in the reservoir.
That's right. No more Ollie caught on the market on H2O.
For you. We've got a reservoir that needs to be protected. Crops that need tending. Streets that need to be cleaned.
Act.
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 Act. Act.
Sorry I'm late, everyone, but I've got big news. I've been studying acting at the Even You Can Act Academy. Turns out, even I can act. Even I can act. Even I can act. My teacher is Dan Lamont.
Be cool, man. Act natural. Act natural. Act natural.
What?
Yeah. Keep your voice down. I'm gonna get up and go.
All right, first we want to show you as a strong leader. So, act strong, act strong, act strong.
To be unstuck in time, in a constant state of stage fright, never knowing what part of my life I'd have to act in next.
What do I do? For now, just go home, act dumb.
You don't think. You want to be treated like an adult, but you don't act like one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's kind of like a handshake for Clyde. Really.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Doug,
I don't know why
honestly.
I do it.
You act like these people are better than you, and they're not.
All right, let's cut the act. We both know why we're here.
I don't buy it.
Buy what?
The act.
Oh, man. So busted.
Hurley, I'm not here to tell you how to act around food.
This afternoon, you said you were our leader. It's time for you to act like one.
You can't neglect. No, don't act as if I wanted this. You brought this on yourself.
Across.
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 I can't answer definitively yes or no at this point.
Fine. There's a place across the street, across the street, across the street. I'll meet you there in an hour.
Great. That's great.
Are you talking about Bryson or your boy Caffrey? He's slippery, and so's the line between right and wrong. And when you follow him across it, it will cost you everything.
You've been out here worrying again, haven't you?
Oh, of course I have. I mean, I drove the kids all the way across the country, away from their dad and everything they've ever known. And
Where were you at the time of the fire?
I was running on the track across campus.
Excuse me, I'm gonna run across the street for a minute.
Is everything all right?
Oh, yes. Can you just let Peter know? I'll be right back.
Officer Trina Coffey and myself were tasked with a decoy detail.
And you came across a perp?
Yes, a two-time felon.
Sorry to use your office, but they're making an adult film across the street, and this is by far the best view.
When I come across a suburban widow dealing dime bags to bored housewives, I like to flatter myself by thinking that I have more important things to do with my time.
You're dragging me across the country at a moment's notice to talk about you as a mother.
San Francisco.
It's amazing here. I biked across the bay this morning to watch the sunrise.
How was the sunrise?
On the basis of what?
Your confession.
I knew Shane Jacoby stole that money. Idiot may as well have had guilty tattooed across his forehead. I followed him to the vault where he hid the cash.
Careless.
Careless. Careless.
Careless.
Careless.
Don't. Getting careless. Getting careless. Getting careless.
The stupid shit they do, huh?
That's the thing, though. I don't think these guys are that careless. Careless. I think that somebody else put this tracker on Lauren's Jeep.
Eventually, the man who guarded me got careless. Never get too close.
Billy.
It is so easy to be callous. It takes courage and character to care.
Excuse us, senor.
You're rather careless with your sketches, Artista. You left a sheaf of them in my husband's study.
I didn't lose you. I wasn't careless. I didn't forget you were stolen from me.
Pull from women asking the same questions.
Pig fun again. Careless.
What?
I'm the queen of hearts. Do you really think I'd be so careless as to keep my heart where everyone else does?
This! I know, Father.
Oh, careless child! Don't touch!
It was extremely careless on our part.
Your gun?
Sir, I realize
You know how
that.
this reflects on me? That one of our men could be so careless?
When you brought up this idea, I wasn't sold. It struck me as both desperate and careless.